Well,
All right, guys, we're recording.
All right. Hello. Thank you for attending the Zoom meeting. This is the Oh My God midterm case study.
I'm Damon.
I'm Jonathan.
I'm Alvin.
I'm Aldo.
I'm Fatima.
And I'm Carlos.
So for the brief overview, we have a process of building the monthly forecast, confidence with the client's assumptions and key concerns, summarize the team's proposed plan, what we learned from the Excel model, and we're going to compare and contrast the benefits and drawbacks. And so I will begin with a brief introduction of our case analysis. So the OMG is a PB&J sandwich food truck that's going to be operating in the Modesto Costco parking lot. The investors of the OMG food truck are a group of college freshmen, and they have asked our team for help with the production planning. In this analysis, we're going to examine the process of building the monthly forecast for OMG. We're going to explain what we learned from the Excel model. We will bring up any concerns that we have with the information given to us, compare the benefits and drawbacks of a level strategy plan, chase strategy plan, and a hybrid plan. Finally, we're going to summarize our findings and examine how we can improve the forecast. To start, we were given some of Costco's historical data. Costco Modesto averages 5,000 customers a day. The forecast is given that 10% of Costco customers will stop by the food truck. The truck is planned to be in operation 360 days a year. We were also given some of the production constraints. The business requires cashiers and sandwich preparers, and it has been estimated that an employee can prepare 120 sandwiches a day. The maximum production is 18,000 sandwiches a month. We formulated that based on the average of 5,000 customers a day, the average annual customers for Costco would be approximately 1,800,000 customers based on the planned operation of 360 days per year. This would be 180,000 customers a month. Then we plugged in the average monthly customer forecast for OMG, which was 10% of Costco's monthly customers. That resulted with 18,000 as the average monthly customer forecast for OMG. Based on all information we received and after reviewing our Excel projection, we have determined that the chase strategy where the demand matches the capacity period by period would be the best fit for the business. Next slide.
This is what our team has learned from the Excel model is that depending on the model, it can be affected by the following: inventory determination, inventory difficulty, inventory control systems, lack of information, and mismatching strategies. First, let's discuss inventory determination. In this case, our inventory is perishable. What that determines inventory if we need to carry inventory at all. The only inventory we carry is the individual ingredients to make the final product, the peanut butter sandwiches. Secondly, we have inventory difficulty. It's to always know how much inventory and when is very difficult, especially when it's perishable, which I will discuss further in this presentation. Thirdly, there's the inventory control system. The type of inventory control system will depend largely on part of what type of product is being produced. In this case, it's perishable. So we will use a just-in-time inventory system, which I will talk more about in a minute as well. Then we have the lack of information. Often because of lack of information about costs involved with sustainable supply chains and the impact of the supply chain on the operations. Companies often find it challenging to uphold a competitive price and rapid response to the market's demand. Because we are a business, we are in a growing phase, and this is one area we'll be addressing in our business. And then finally, we have mismatching strategies. Often mismatching strategies are a root cause of problems that can affect supply chains. And supply chain strategies based on a one-size-fits-all strategy often fails. As you can see, that a one-size-fits-all does not work based on the three models we used throughout this process, which leads me to this. All these strategies are uncertainties that managers wrestle with, deriving from increased complexity in supply networks. Next slide. So our team has identified the best model for our company and proposed as a chase strategy. The model numbers in the Excel spreadsheet are based on the numbers from Modesto's Costco's estimated customer monthly distribution forecast. Even though we'll carry inventory for the ingredients, a pull system of stock or just-in-time process will be used or assembled to order or equal to demand. This will prevent our company from carrying any leftover product since we are chasing the demand set by the market, in this case, Costco's customers. This will also reduce the spoilage of supplies not used. Given that our product is a perishable product and we are starting a new business, and since we do not have a lot of cash, we do not want to risk loss or even theft of unsold products. Perishable inventory is one of the trickiest types of inventory to manage. Because perishable items go out of date, there's all sorts of windows for time and a business can purchase, stock, and sell merchandise before it loses its value. Therefore, perishable inventory control is the utmost importance for our bottom line. When our company successfully implements an inventory management system for its perishable goods, they will benefit from increased revenue, basically knowing what to purchase and when allows for optimal profitability of our inventory. The turnaround on perishable items should have as quickly as possible. Next thing, you have improved cash flow. Having a handle on your inventory means your cash flow will increase as you only order what you need. And you have customer satisfaction by managing that inventory means understanding the supply and demand of the markets. If you stock items that are popular with your customer base, they will continue to purchase from your store. And on top of that, you'll have fewer recalls. Keeping tabs on your perishable goods allows you to hear and recall right away. This is also a lean production strategy. Utilizing the strategy will save on cost until the demand is needed and the order is placed. This strategy will also help maintain low inventory, and the cost of goods per product sold is kept to a minimum for a shorter length of time. Like the business in Los Angeles, pbnj.com at the Grand Central Market, we want to give our customers a tremendous nostalgic experience, leaving them a lasting impression, wanting them to come back for more. Maintaining customer satisfaction is a key priority in the success of our business. Next slide.
The confidence with clients and key concerns. So based on the information provided by our client, we have been able to evaluate and come up with a model as seen previously in the slide. They have provided us details on the surrounding areas and how much traffic circulates in the area, which has helped us determine how the business they can attract based on the surrounding areas. Based on the statistics they were provided by Costco, they are expecting to attract at least 10% of their clients. Costco receives an estimate of 5,000 customers a day. Now for a new starting business, it might be a high expected rate due to them just starting off and not having as much exposure, in which it could be a high risk for the business to stock up on inventory based on the information they have acquired and are expecting a large amount of customers a day. Since they have specified how important it is for them to sell fresh peanut butter and jelly sandwiches, they would have to limit their inventories in order to provide fresh sandwiches for their customers. Also, based on employees, they have specified that they would have one cashier taking orders and having sandwich specialists. Based on the different traffic levels and volume that they could be peaking at, it could require them to have more staff needed or less staff, having staff back if they're not as busy. And then also for high peak seasons, it could be that they are needed more inventory than they have been planned for. Next slide.
There are 3 production strategies in which management agrees to amounts to produce, size of workforce required, and inventory investment over a large time. The first one is level strategy, which maintains a steady production rate and/or steady employment level. This is often used at firms that require high-skilled workers or fast food places because the demand for their food is high and profit margins are low. They produce almost exactly the capacity to meet demand at all times. Next slide. Chase strategy plan implies matching demand and capacity period by period. This is a lean production strategy, saving on costs until the order is placed. Cost of goods for products sold is kept to a minimum and for a shorter length of time. Many organizations use this strategy to lower inventory and keep costs low. Many agricultural companies use this strategy throughout harvest seasons. The advantages of the chase strategies are low inventory costs, great for just-in-time production strategy, and you can easily adjust production demand capacity. Some disadvantages are it avoids back orders. It creates back orders, can cause loss of employee motivation, assumes low learning curve, can result in hiring and firing expenses, and may exceed capacity. Okay, hybrid strategy is a combination of level and chase strategies. There are not many cons to hybrid strategies because many companies use a mix of both chase and level strategies to help obtain their production goals. Some of the pros are it reduces cost, helps with product differentiation, great for newer product development, minimizes stockouts. Some of the cons are that it can result in scheduling conflicts and can also lead to higher production costs. Next slide. For us to create a production strategy for OMG, we must first calculate the size of the workforce required, calculate inventory period levels, shortages, and expected hiring, calculate period costs and planned costs, and we also must evaluate the plans on impact for customer service and employees. We have decided that chase strategy would be the best solution to our production. Next slide.
So the strategy we chose to implement was the chase strategy. We chose this strategy because we are dealing with the perishable product, like it was mentioned before. And dealing with the perishable product means that it doesn't have a long shelf life. So we decided it was best to keep supply at the end of the month low or close to zero as possible. And we also believe that making food to order was better than having food already made for the customers. We decided to keep supply equal to demand. We decided to do this as a chase strategy calls for the make to order process. Making food to order also allows to keep inventory levels low, which therefore reduces the cost as well. We also decided not to be at the maximum capacity just in case there are those situations or those peak times during the year where we need to bring an extra inventory to help cover the supply for that extra demand. You can go on to the next slide. And then although we believe our plan is the best method for this instance, we do have some concerns with our plan. The biggest concern that we have is that the chase strategy calls for employees that are not being used towards production or let go. And when you are talking about employees and food, you want to keep employees with experience as the quality of the food is better when you don't have employees that are new. The quality tends to differentiate, which is very important in the food industry. And another concern that we had was that if demand was higher than forecasted, we might not be able to have enough supply to meet the extra demand. Also, if this were to happen, would they run out of supplies and would they have to turn customers away? And then the last concern that we had was that if the gradual change in utilization was to stress, could cause stress to the system, and would it cause the system to fail? And you can go on to the next slide.
All right. So kind of to start my conclusion, I would like to kind of recap every one of the points that my teammates made and just kind of our train of thought on how we came about basically our entire business plan. So obviously we'll start off by saying that this is a new business. This is a new business venture. It is sort of they're just starting up. So one of the things that we basically all agreed on is that when starting a new business, when something is new, when it's a new restaurant on the block, when it's a new food truck on the corner, reputation is key. We knew that reputation is key. We knew that we want to have a quality product. We knew that we want to have something that people can say, okay, this was good. I liked it. I might come back. So that's where we started. A new food product business, reputation is key. So what exactly does good reputation mean? Good reputation basically means a good product. Okay, then we went from there, we went kind of down the list. Okay, what exactly entails a good product? And basically in the food industry, a lot of what entails a good product means that it's a fresh product. So that's that. Having freshness at the top of our list was basically non-negotiable. We are not dealing with electronics. We're not dealing with furniture. We're not dealing with stuff that can be sitting in a warehouse for weeks or months. We're dealing with something that's going to be ordered and literally consumed minutes after whoever just bought the product. So if we wanted to guarantee fresh products, we wanted to do this as close as possible to made to order. That's kind of what we came about. From there, we analyzed, okay, well, what options do we have? There are some options out there where we could try to take the total demand, spread it out evenly throughout the season, and have a baseline of workers, have a baseline of product, and things could be done that way. Okay, well, what was that going to mean? That was going to mean that we're going to have inventory from month to month. I don't think anyone wanted a day old, 2-day old, week old, month old sandwich. So that was out of the question, basically leaving us with the chase strategy, as some of my teammates commented before. Basically, the chase strategy will guarantee or will ensure fresh product 100% of the time. There will never be a sandwich from last week, a sandwich from last month. Everything is to be made as close as possible to when someone pays for the product. Just to recap some of the advantages of this strategy, as some of my teammates already mentioned, it's basically that things are going to be made on the fly. You order a sandwich, you get that made, and then you consume it minutes after. Another advantage is that our raw goods, whatever we buy to produce these sandwiches, is something that's not going to be sitting on the shelf for a while. It's something that we buy, and as demand increases, it gets put into these sandwiches and goes out the door. So having just the right amount, literally just in time, the amount of product that we have would kind of alleviate those cash flow issues that a lot of new businesses have, because we wouldn't be carrying a pallet of peanut butter or a pallet of jelly for the entire season. We would only have what we were going to use for that week or that day or so on. Of course, we already talked about some of the disadvantages of this strategy. The biggest one being the fluctuating, basically, employee workforce. If 1 month our demand drops and we want to keep our productivity up, well, we got to drop employees to match that. And the opposite can be said. If 1 month demand triples, well, we're going to have to triple or double our workforce. That is one of the biggest drawbacks that we identified. Obviously, some of the long-term implications of that are that the quality of the product or the quality of the service can suffer. But it's something that we kind of decided on that we were going to have to deal with. So we basically came up 2 solutions. This is just kind of to conclude. Obviously, the end result would be a fluctuating workforce. So what are the solutions that we basically concluded on? Well, one would be keeping the employees hired throughout the entire season. But of course, our productivity would suffer. Some months you wouldn't have enough work for the employees. Other months it would be perfect. And it would just be, we just have to accept that. Or 2, accept the fluctuating workforce. Accept that some months you would have to hire some people. Other months we'd have to let go of some people. Now, with that being said, we basically concluded that as a new business venture and being kind of tight on cash, we want to be as efficient as possible. So we basically want to run with the fluctuating workforce. We think that one of the kind of antidotes to the quality problems would be having a good supervisor. A good supervisor on hand could influence employee output and the quality of the service and the quality of the product. So that's basically the conclusion to this entire case study. We want to have always fresh product. If that means that our workforce is going to fluctuate, we are willing to do that in the name of being efficient. And one of the ways that we can kind of work against that is by having good supervisor team. So that basically brings us to the end of our presentation. So this was our version of the OMG case study. Thanks.